You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome back, Mike Rich. We did not expect to be doing this, but with the Madison County basketball tournament being postponed and me having a 2 hour delay at school tomorrow, I actually got to stay up and watch the game. And Mike was able to watch it or listen to the game as well. So welcome back, Mike.
Well, thank you.
Where you
Happy to be back. And
where you
yeah,
coming from today?
I am in Atlanta today.
Atlanta,
So
Georgia today.
Atlanta, the ATL.
The ATL. All right, before we get going talking about the Pacers 113-99 win over the Nets, let me do a quick recap. The Pacers basically led from start to finish, although the first quarter was very competitive. The Pacers led by 16 at halftime, went on an 8-0 run to start the third. They were up 24. I thought about turning it off, but then the Nets made a run. The Pacers played poorly, but it ended up being back at 14 points in the end, and they played fairly well down the stretch. Mike, your thoughts on another Pacers win?
I'm just excited to see them beat a team they should beat. Brooklyn was down two of their best scorers, and they went into that game. They were heavily favored, and other than that third quarter, I thought it was a really good performance. I think they played well defensively, and I think the starters were well balanced and played well, and did exactly what they needed to do. They needed to go in there. They needed to win, and walking away with another win. That's getting over 500 for the first time since game one. Pretty exciting.
Let me play a little bit of devil's advocate, Mike. Yes, it's true. They had trouble winning games like this last year, but that Nets roster was awful, and the Pacers' performance against almost any other team in the league would not have been good enough tonight. That's the only complaint I have.
Yeah, you're right there. I think, yeah, they if they would have played somebody that was more competitive, they probably would have struggled with their performance tonight.
But they had Benedict Matherin, who was fantastic tonight. 8 for 14 from the field, 3 for 6 from deep, 20 points. Halliburton scored 23 points on 12 field goal attempts, also had 8 assists. Very good night for the backcourt from Indiana.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought it was great again. I think Matherin continues to just be a pretty solid starter. And again, I heard some rumblings that Neesmith is close to coming back and working him back into the rotation. I just don't know if he's going to be starting.
I would I would tend to think that would be unlikely.
Yeah, I would tend to think that would be unlikely as well. Um, but yeah, I did. What I was listening to it on the way to the hotel and in the airport, so I haven't been able to watch the game. And but again, just excited to see the direction they're going. They're accumulating consecutive wins, 3 wins in a row. They're 8-1 on the road in the last 9 games. Last 10 games, I think they're either 7-3 or 8-2. So
Well, they're 8-3
uh,
in their last 11.
8-3 in their last 11.
Yes,
Yeah.
against a
So
pretty tough stretch of schedule.
yeah, yeah, on a lot of road games, some tough teams. I mean, if again, if they can continue to beat teams and win games that they should win, the schedule's favorable for them for the remainder of the year. They've played them. They're the one team in the NBA that's played the most on the road, and they've just they've weathered a storm to be over 500 finally. I think the pieces are coming together. I think the chemistry of the team is coming together. The rotations seem to be right now, and um, you know, and they're healthy. So it's all signs are pointing in the right direction. And New York lost tonight, so that was good.
Yep.
Orlando beat them, but you know,
The Pacers are up to tied for sixth place in
seven.
the
Yeah,
standings. Top,
Yep. So they've moved up in the standings, right behind. Is it Milwaukee?
right behind Milwaukee, a half game behind Milwaukee. So
Yep.
only 2.5 games behind Orlando for fourth.
Yeah.
Only 5 games behind the Knicks for third, and then let's not even start talking yet about the other two.
No.
So
No. No need.
they're
No
quite a
need.
ways out there. Uh,
Yes, they are.
Nimhart had another subpar performance. Since I praised him, he hasn't played very well, but he hit maybe the biggest shot of the night. Hit a big 3-pointer when
Mhm.
the Nets fans were starting to feel a comeback. Really stepped into, and then McConnell, not his best night overall, but stole the inbounds
The
pass to
steal.
start the
Yeah.
fourth quarter
Yes. Yeah, that was huge.
that set up the three, and that was not quite worthy of the song tonight, but it was an incredible play.
Yeah, I think that again, that's the spark you get from McConnell. That's the effort you get, and
Far more
you know,
valuable than his numbers say.
oh, absolutely far more. I thought Obi Toppin played well as
He
well
did.
tonight. He had a good first half, and um, so he's been
He
pretty
has some good
solid. I
things
mean,
on defense.
he had some good things on defense. He made ESPN Sports Center top 10 tonight, so I think he was number 3 with that dunk,
It's a nice
and
one.
yeah, real nice one. So uh, no, yeah, I think the team they played, they should have beat by 24. That lead should have, they shouldn't have had that team come back on them like they did. I think they got it back down to 10 or something like that. So, and that's the thing I worry about with this team is they build these big leads, and then the other team makes a run and either overcomes that lead, or tonight that was too close in the third quarter
And the
for that
reason
team.
tonight was obvious that they could not get a defensive rebound. And Dayron
Now,
Sharp for the Nets, I don't know where that guy came from, but that guy just that rebound is his. Thomas Bryant was literally shaking his head at the end of the game. How do I get a rebound against this guy? Ended up with 13 rebounds. I don't have the box score up in front of me, but a ton on the offensive end.
yeah,
We needed 9 offensive rebounds for Dayron Sharp. This is why you and I were fans of Oscar Shibwe, um,
yeah,
because when the ball went in the air, the rebound was his.
right.
That was his mentality, and the Pacers just don't have one of those guys. And Dayron Sharp for the Nets he kept him in the game, 16 points, 13 rebounds. And I mean, I remember him in college, but I've never seen him play a game in the NBA. And um, he just went up and got every rebound. It was very impressive, but the Pacers just aren't a good rebounding team.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio cast, and there was somebody on there, and they asked, who was the outstanding bench player, basically, and one of the guys said Sharp, and they're like, well, we're talking about the Pacers. You're supposed to pick, one of the Pacers. He's like, well, you can't overlook what Sharp did, and absolutely he had a fantastic game.
He
Uh,
earned himself some big NBA minutes with that performance.
he did. No, all in all, it's good to win. It feels good to see them string three in a row, and just continue to improve, and
Mike, I got their schedule up. I was wrong. They're 9-3 in their last 12. So,
okay,
and here we go. Wednesday night, Bulls at home. Friday night, Golden State Warriors at home. Sunday at Cleveland. Tuesday at home against Cleveland. That's what we got coming up.
yeah,
Thoughts on
uh,
the stretch?
they should be Chicago and Golden State. They're probably, and like I said, if they could split Cleveland, I mean, I'd be extremely happy. Um, but
If they can win at
Chicago,
Cleveland, if they could win at Cleveland, and then the next game's a national television game on Tuesday night. you might start getting some people talking.
Yeah.
Not that getting people talking matters that much, but I'm just saying you start to maybe get people thinking, hey, this is a team that can compete for it.
And they have the pieces. I mean, they're good enough to compete with Milwaukee and Boston and Cleveland, and it's
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
they have the talent. Um, it's just they got to put it together, and I think they'll come to play for those games.
yeah,
I think there'll be a different level of intensity with Cleveland, um, and especially going back to back. So it may. I just hope it's not like the back to back with Boston where we got smoked by 37 points, and you know
yes, yeah,
2 days later you beat them.
yeah. Well,
So
at least this one's home and home, a home and home series, unlike Boston, which was two of them there. So,
right, right. So yeah,
all
but
right, my
schedule looks good.
it does.
So we just, like I said, keep putting these wins together and keep moving up in the standings. Are we tied with? Is it Miami who we're tied with?
Yes, yep.
Yeah. So
Not too concerned about them. All right,
no,
Mike. Before I let you go, I need your opinion on the Colts news today.
my opinion on the Colts. I was surprised. it- you know, uh, they absolutely did the right thing with letting Gus Bradley go. I like Shane Steichen. I think he needs another year. Ballard was that was a little puzzling. But I don't know how you keep the coach and let the GM go. Um,
So, are you
so
disappointed, or are you okay with it?
um, I don't want to be, I don't know. I think they run it back one more year, see what they can do in the draft. I think Steichen deserves another year. Um, you know, I Ballard, um, if they're underwhelming again next year, I mean, he should definitely go next year. If I'm as unhappy today, next year feeling the same
Right.
way,
Exactly.
there's just no way they should keep them. And I think I heard something earlier today that there's a lot of coaches out there and GMs that are getting paid for contracts that they're not fulfilling. And so you're paying multiple coaches, and I know these guys are billionaires that are paying them and everything like that, but still quite a bit of money going out for. I,
Right.
I think Frank Reich's raking in the dough and for Carolina, and hasn't coached him in what, a year and a
Yeah.
half. So,
Exactly. That's
um,
right.
but I think
Remember when the
I,
Colts coaching search was down to Frank Reich and Dan Campbell, and we all were so happy that it ended up being Frank Reich?
right, right,
Oh
and
man.
I don't know if Steichen's that type of. I just don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't get that feel that he's that big motivator in the locker room.
Yeah.
Um, Dan Campbell is uh,
Different
I saw
breed.
something, a different breed, but he played for Detroit, and
Yep.
he went 0-16 with Detroit. So to see where they ended up at the end of the season was pretty cool, and
Pretty cool.
uh, would
Go Lions.
go Lions. I'm hoping for a Lions Bills Super Bowl,
And then hell would freeze over.
and then hell would freeze over.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks for staying up with us. And
Yeah,
I did I catch you dozing off?
I was about there,
All
but
right. Well,
yeah.
good night. And I'm going back to school tomorrow. And don't tell anybody, but I can't wait.
Well, hey, you be safe. The roads were pretty horrible this morning when I got out, but
Not too bad now.
you didn't get as much snow as we did 20 minutes south of you, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
but we got it later, and it ended up being a good 4 or 5 inches. So
You be safe tomorrow. Enjoy going back to school, and
thanks, Mike.
we'll talk again soon.
All right, I always appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much to my man Miguel Rico for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report again. And thank you for listening. Please go right now and like, subscribe, or follow if you don't want to miss a single segment. And tell a friend. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love sushi.